Hello everybody, how are you doing today? I hope you're having a good time wherever you are. I just did a segment in Toknath earlier and I will cover some key points here in English for those who are interested. So today I'm going to talk about Prophet Ngundengbong, who is a newer prophet who was born in the 1800s. And he was a prominent prophet of Kush who anything he says comes true. He's misunderstood because the tribe that he hails from, which is the Nuer tribe, is often misunderstood in South Sudan and in East Africa and in historical account due to our nature of being, not being uncontrolled by the colonizers, because when you're seen as uncontrollable by the colonizers, they tend to spin a narrative that is contrary to the truth, to paint a narrative. So Prophet Ngundengbong, according to Jiniel, which is his book, he was born. He was a gift from Denkud or Dengted, and he was given to his Nuer mother from Lo Nuer named Nyayel Malwal. So what you can call him divine birth. So his father is his spiritual father, which is Denkur, Dengted, or Kur. So that's his spiritual father. And then his earthly mother is a Nuer woman named Nyayel Malwal from Lo Nuer. So what was his main message? It was about decolonization, being against radical Arabization in Sudan at the time when we were under the British Sudan rule. He wanted black people to be independent, to only worship one God. And this God is a God of the Christian, which is Yahweh, because we are Cush. So Cush is a branch of the Israeli family. So our God is Yahweh, and then in our mother tongue, we call him Kudniel, we call him Denkur, we call him Dengted, we call him all of these things, but it's just to pay homage. We only have one God, and that one God is fighting our fight, because as a people we have been marginalized for 2,000 years and counting. But for those who read his history, you would understand that the plight of the black man or the plight of the Kushites has been a fight that's been going on for more than 2,000 years. We have been fighting to be alive. So today when we have the conflict that we have in, let's say, South Sudan or in Sudan, is because we don't know our value and we don't know our history and we don't know our roots. And that's why we have the fights that we're having. Because if we know our roots, we will understand what is the enemy, what are we really fighting, and why is Sudan a hotbed of conflict right now. Sudan is a hotbed of conflict because it is the land where Yahweh lives and is still there and runs things. And we as a collective, it's almost like we're being systematically eradicated. It's genocide, because the people there are of a great heritage. They have the stories, they have the findings. If Sudan is unstable, and I promise you, Africa will never be stable, because Kush, there was a promise made to Kush by Yahweh that we would be restored, we would be collected from the land that we were scattered upon, to come home, to rebuild the land, and to heal the land, and to worship our one true God. Because that hasn't happened yet, there will be conflict in Africa. So based on what I've just said, if I am a part of Israel, then what is Africa? Africa is an extension of Israel. They are the children of Israel. All the 12 tribes of Israel, they're within Africa in different parts of the continent. From North Africa to East to West to Central to Southern, we're all the children of Israel. We know this. But due to marginalization and due to the racism, we don't claim, we don't really want to partake in that, even though we know that's the truth because of the heavy politics around it. But the truth is, our liberation has come near. We have been scattered among the four corners of the earth, and it's Yahweh's promise to us to take us home. And Ngundeng is a fulfillment of Yahweh's promise to us as Cush. Ngundeng came in the 19th century to remind us of how we're going to get back home. But he also gave us insight to know why there's so much instability in Sudan, the type of people that are going against the unification with God, like what's happening. So one of the reasons why Ngundeng is not popular is because, for example, in Isaiah, when Isaiah talked about Kush, it's very broad. We know Kush is in Sudan. That's where it stopped, and then we tend to generalize the whole thing to everybody. But what Ngundeng says that the children of Kush are the Nilotics that are in the southern region, which is now called South Sudan. They are the children that these prophecies are about. And when their nation is free of harm and blood and murder, then Africa as a whole will know peace. Because we're connected. Everything's connected. Okay, so there has been a lot of research and a lot of scholars talking about this reality. So what I'm saying to you is that this reality is that we all belong to Yahweh. It doesn't matter the color of your skin. We all belong to Him. We're part of that human family that comes from one ancestry. We are His children. And another way I can say that we are the children of Denkur. As much as Ngundeng is my prophet, he's your prophet too. Because what benefits me benefits you. Another part of Ngundeng's prophecy, he's put the Nilotic children in two camps. The camp of truth and the camp of lies. Those who partake in lies are the ones destroying the society. And those who love truth and want, humanity to reign and love to reign, they're the ones suffering. So Ngundeng does not gloss all Junubian together. He puts them in camps. And he said, according to your deed, you will suffer accordingly, or you will benefit accordingly. For example, in Equatorial, there are tribes that are cursed and there are tribes that are blessed. In Denka, there are tribes that are blessed and tribes that are cursed. In Nuer, there are tribes that are cursed and tribes that are blessed. In Anuak, the same thing. In Shuluk, the same thing. Because as a prophet, he understands that you do not generalize. We're in different camps. And for those who can actually read his word as they are written, he put us in different camps. And that's why the conflict in South Sudan is very troublesome and it's gruesome, because we are literally fighting each other. We're split in the middle. There are those of us who want truth and who walk with Denkur and who walk with Yahweh, and we want things to be good because we want the land to heal. And there are those of us who love corruption because corruption is the only way to live. We don't know any other way. Whatever camp you're on, you're going to suffer accordingly. Because if we don't like Ngundeng, then we don't like Isaiah, then we don't like Yeshua, we don't like anyone in the Bible at all. Because they just show that we're hard-headed. We don't want to believe the truth. We don't want the truth at all. We suffer for not listening. We suffer for not listening to our prophets. All of our prophets, it's not a prophet that God has given us for evil. God always gave us a prophet to take us back to Him, to live in harmony with others, to see ourselves in others. In Jiniel, which is Ngundeng's book, he talked about how he is a prophet for all, and how we are all children of Denkur, of Dengtel. We are all of his children, and we have to act accordingly. And he said, if you are my child and you defile the land, so my other children are sick, I will deal with you accordingly. So let's not make Ngundeng's prophecy purely Denka, purely Nuer, purely this, purely that, because he's judging us accordingly to our deeds, to our actions, to our love of corruption and our hatred of corruption. So if you do not respect your likeness, your own image, and you don't want your own image to survive, to thrive, then what kind of future will you have? We're being humiliated every day by President Salva Kiir Mayardit, and we don't mind. We don't revolt. We don't riot. Because a lot of people have this misperception that, if Salva Kiir Mayardit goes, a lot of people are going to suffer from his ethnic group. That's not true. There are communities within Denka that are actually blessed by Ngundeng, who are being marginalized as we speak. Because he judges you by your heart. Because we're all of his children. Kush is strictly the Nilotics in the south. And those related to us. So all these prophecies, they're gruesome. Some are happy and some are not so good because it deals with the condition of the heart. How are we treating our fellow black man? How are we treating the black woman? How are we treating the black child? When we are in close encounters with our families and friends, how do we speak about others? How do we speak about other tribes? How do we speak about other clans? That too is a judgment from Denkur. How do you speak about others? Do you love others? Do you accept others? Do you love the truth? Because being tribal and private, no matter your background, it's gonna cost you something. It's gonna cost you your relationship with God, because God's not gonna trust you with anything. You see, for South Sudan to be prosperous, you like it or not, you're related to everybody by blood, by kinship in some sort of way. Because remember, as long as you're black, you're related to other black people on this planet. And as long as you're human, you're related to black people too. As long as you consider yourself a breathing, living human, you're related to everybody. See, even animals are related to us. Yet we treat the common human being like a joke in South Sudan. Our president, Salva Kiir Mayardit, is not going to go through, and he's not going to leave power through election. He's going to fire the bullet. He's destroying this country as we speak. Every day, night and day, people are dying. Because he understands that he's not leaving power through election. He's going to leave it through the bullet. And the bullet is going to be fired by him against himself. Because people are tired. Like, you know better. And yet, you choose not to behave better. So instead of judging Prophet Ngundeng, inquire about the things he said about your community. The good and the bad. And then change whatever is negative. It's that simple. The thing with Ngundeng is because we saw him. He walked among us. He lived among us. Whereas the prophets in the Bible, we're talking about 2,000 years ago, 1,000 years ago. We didn't get to see them. So they're like in the distance. We like what's not near us. We like broad things. When Isaiah talks about Kush, we love it because it's so general. We don't know if he's talking about the northern Sudanese. We don't know if he's talking about those in the south. It's so broad. It's nice because no one takes personal accountability. But when Ngundeng talks about the Kushites being those who are Nilotics in the south, and he calls by names and clans and family names and the things that we do in private to hurt the collective, then we get angry. Because now we know, oh my God, my family name, my community, my blah, blah, blah is mentioned. Now the world's going to know how bad we are. Ngundeng did not spare anyone. He visited every community in South Sudan, and he treated people accordingly. But we don't like the truth. But the thing with Ngundeng, he doesn't care whether you like the truth or not. What he wants to happen will happen, and that is the unification of Africa. You see, because there's a lot of misinformation out there, a lot of y'all didn't get that part of the message. His main message is the unification of Africa, for the black man to be one and to have power, to heal from all the colonial traumas, to breathe, to sleep without worry, to not be fired at by a bullet in the streets, to simply be human. And for that to happen, we have to accept that we are the children of Denkur. We have to accept that we're one. And that's the main message of Ngundeng. We are one, so why are you spilling your brother's blood? It doesn't matter. In this case, deal mostly with Nuer and Dinka. Why are you spilling your brother's blood unjustly in the name of corruption? You know it's a sin to eat by yourself while your brother is suffering in the refugee camp? He's starving. When they don't have access to basic necessities, you're hoarding everything, you're eating everything by yourself. Did you know that it's a sin for your family to eat while 10,000 of other people's families are not eating? Do you know it's a sin for your clan to eat food and other clans are starving? Did you know that? Did you know Mundeng said, there's a problem with you, whoever eats alone while his brother is suffering. There's a problem for those who do not like truth. He wants to be equal in South Sudan, to have equal opportunities. It doesn't matter your ethnic background, your tribal background. When you choose to behave in a manner that does not please Denkur, or Yahweh in this case, you are setting up yourself for failure. And the beautiful thing about history, we get to read and see real accounts of what you've done as a people or as a tribe or as a community or as a family. We get to see and judge you accordingly. So if you're in South Sudan and you love the truth, I'm not asking you to come on my side and call Denkur your God or call Yahweh your God. If you're South Sudan and you love the truth, tell the truth. You know, be part of the change. Tell the truth. So people can breathe. We're suffering everywhere. We have a leader. It doesn't matter where you're in South Sudan, you're suffering. I have seen videos of women in Bargazal literally foraging for food. There's nothing to eat. I know what's happening in Equatoria with the cattle problem, where there's no respect for boundaries and other people's lands. All the hard work you do with farming, just for someone to come and mess it all up. I can't even say anything about Upper Nile. We're fighting night and day because we have no leadership. So Denkur will judge us accordingly in how we behave and our lack of good action to do the right thing. You see, he said, while you're still helpless, you can't really do much because you don't have power, you don't have resources. Talk. I will see you're making an effort. Talk. Tell the truth. Shame those who are doing bad things in the country. Have a voice. Tell the absolute truth. For those of you who have been following me, I claim my faith. I believe in Yahweh. I believe in Yeshua. I believe in the Christian faith. I believe in Denkur. My prophet is Isaiah. My prophet is Mundeng. Because that's my heritage. Mundeng came to fulfill Isaiah's prophecies. Because if he didn't come, would we really know what's going on? Sometimes I feel like we're in this like fog, mental fog. We don't even sit down and fully dissect what is the Bible talking about when they talk about Cush. What's going on? We don't do that. And so God gave us a man that looked like us, with our dark skin, with our mother tongue. Because Mundeng, when he was on earth, he spoke everybody's language. It doesn't matter if you came all the way from Abyssinia. It doesn't matter if you came all the way from Kakwa. He spoke your language. And he dealt with you accordingly. So we have to understand that this was a prophet given to us by God for the children of Cush to come back to themselves and to heal and to become one. And remember, I will end on this final note. Remember, our homeland is the homeland of everyone on this earth. There will come a time where the gates, like Isaiah said, the gates of Cush will open 24/7. We're not going to be the only black people living in Cush. We will not be the only community living in Cush. A lot of people will come live with us. Some, they come because they're family, by faith and camaraderie. So if we're fighting as 10 million people, what's going to happen when there's 200 million, 300 million in the land? Because that's what the prophecy said. Both Ngundeng and both Isaiah, they said that the land will be filled with so many humans, and we will worship one God. And we will be one people as children of God in a land of plenty, in a land that's blessed with resources. We're not the only people that's going to be living there. So this conflict in South Sudan is not some simple tribal war. It's about the liberation of God's people from tyranny, so other God's people can come into the land and live and breathe and thrive. So let's not ruin our blessing. Let's not ruin what we are entrusted with. Let's heal the land. Let's do the right thing so our brothers and sisters around the globe can join us from the diaspora. Because we hold the key to Africa's unity and to Africa's development and Africa's peace. And we know that. The Bible tells you so. And Prophet Ngundeng tells you so. We hold the key. So let's not lose the privilege that God has entrusted upon us to lead the way for the unification of the black man, for the unification of Africa, and for the well-being of the planet. Because once Africa heals, Asia will heal. The Native Americans will heal. The marginalized of the earth will heal. Because we are the root of the human family tree. Once we get it together, those who are marginalized on this earth will heal. So that's how big this is. It's not some simple little thing. So the question is, in this great human history, this great biblical prophet, this great prophecies in Ngundeng, are you going to be on the side that unifies everyone? Or are you going to be part of the corruption where when we talk about you in history books, we'll say, oh, this person, they walk with this person and then they bought bombs and they bombed this village. Because that's what's going to happen. He's put us in two camps. Because he knows there's not... his children, they have different hearts. And he walked with those whose heart is pure, who have love for fellow man. So please, let's do the right thing. Let's love each other. When I read Ngundeng prophecies, I know that the black man will heal. He will heal. But how he heals, we get to have a choice in the matter. Are we going to be part of the solution or part of the problem? And one thing that Ngundeng says, that the Bible says you can't be neutral in time of tyranny. You cannot be neutral. You have to tell the truth as it is. And if people don't like you because of it, oh well. You can't be neutral. And all I'm asking for you is to just tell the truth of the situation. Liberate yourself. Give yourself an opportunity to be part of history. Okay? Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.